Today on the table, I'm bringing you the Rock Island M1911 A1 380 in the Smith & Wesson 380 EZ. You will see a price split of about $23, the Rock Island being about $23 cheaper than the Smith & Wesson EZ. Specs, the Rock Island is definitely a heavier firearm. The Smith & Wesson is a touch longer, but not by that much. It is taller. And it is also a fatter firearm. The Smith & Wesson does have one extra round of capacity. Your 1911 380, M1911 A1 380, it is a pretty decent looking firearm. I do kind of have a hard-on for like the P238s, but that's where they chop a little bit off the front here. With this being a little bit longer, it doesn't... They should have chopped it off. That's all I'm going to say about that. You do get a rubberized grip. This firearm is real comfortable to hold. When you're holding it, there's really no sharp edges. As you know, this is a single action only, so you do have to run cocked and locked or work to safety. The Smith & Wesson EZ is an easy firearm to use. Super easy to rack to slide. The magazine even has little thumb things so it helps you load it. Controls, all very easy to use. You do have an accessory rail, so I mean you could put a light on here or something if you want. Holding it, it's not that comfortable, not as much as the 1911 A1, but it's not bad. The 1911 A1 does not have an accessory rail, but that's fine because this is supposed to be a 1911 A1 and accessory rails just don't look that good on there. Sights, the Smith & Wesson does have a 3-dot sight. I do believe it's superior to the 1911 A1. Now, because this is supposed to be a 1911 A1 and they have these extra sights on there, you know what? I'm actually going to have to go back and look at A1s just to make sure they didn't have these sights. But I'd rather have the sights of whatever's on an A1 because that's what this is supposed to be. Now, to cock the hammer on the A1, very easy to do. The Smith & Wesson is a single action only. This particular one doesn't have a safety, but you can get these with safeties on. Unfortunately, there's not a way to relieve the hammer on this, but, I mean, it really don't matter because you're not... You might run with the hammer down on this, like if you're going to carry it. I honestly wouldn't carry either of these. They're just a little bit too big for the firepower they offer, if that makes any sense. Like, if this was like a 9mm or something, that'd be a different story. But as a 380 and the capacity they have, there's plenty of smaller options out there that are even lighter. Trigger brake. 380 EZ. Not too shabby. Your reset. Right there. Wall. Creep. And then your snap. Rock Island 380. I do kind of feel like it has a little bit of an edge over the 380 EZ. Your reset. Has a longer reset. The trigger does feel heavier. And then your snap, but it doesn't seem to have as much creep. So, what trigger brake do I think is better? Honestly, it'd be like trying to split hairs. They're both pretty good. Now, it's comparatively speaking against other pistols, other striker fire guns. Now, comparatively speaking against other single actions, because these both are single actions, they're not that hot at all. For me, at least, if I'm going to take the disadvantages of a single action, I want a far better trigger. Because, I mean, there's a lot of disadvantages to a single action, like you got to roll cocked and locked. Or in this particular case, there is no safety, so you're just cocked and then you got your grip safety. So, which would I pick out of the two trigger brakes? To me, honestly, they don't matter. But to me, honestly, both these should have better triggers. But they're not that bad, comparatively speaking to other firearms. Controls. Slide release, very easy to use. Mag release from your normal shooting position, very easy to use. Mag goes in great. Safety going on is a real pain with your thumb, but you want that actually because you don't want to accidentally put this on. Coming off, easy. 380 easy. There's no safety. Slide release, very easy to use. Mag release, very easy to use. This is an easy firearm. Now, the 1911A1 is a blowback, so the slide is much harder to rack. When you purchase the firearms, with your 1911A1, you do get a pretty decent hard case, which I actually want for this particular firearm because that's not something I would carry. It's more of like a range toy for me. It does have spots where you can lock it as well. Got your foam. Inside you're going to have an owner's manual. Then your proof rounds. With the Smith & Wesson, get a cardboard box, extra magazine, gun lock, instruction manuals. Pretty standard stuff. I think that the whole concept behind the 380 Easy, they executed it pretty well. This is just straight up an easy firearm. I mean, taking it apart, that's it. Apparently going back together is a little bit trickier. Alright, what am I doing wrong? Oh, there we go. But really, that's not that bad. This would be super easy to clean. The slide's super easy to rack. It helps you load the magazine. This tears down like a 1911, so disassembly is a pain. I'm not actually going to do it on here, but this is kind of what it would look like taken apart. Pulling back the slide, that's tough. Slide release, it's not bad. Safety, I mean, just the whole single action thing behind it. This is a harder firearm to run. So which one would I pick? Well, I do believe Smith & Wesson executed the design better. They looked at this, they're like, okay, what advantage does this firearm have? How can we sell this thing? Like, well, we'll make it really easy. And they did. They made everything super easy to do on this. And that's ideal, especially if you have arthritis, you know, the older people. A girl that doesn't work out, she would definitely want something like this. This would be easy to run. And in a purse, like off-body carry, which girls have purses, so kind of makes sense, the size really doesn't matter that much. It's got a 380 in it, so it's going to have very light recoil. I believe they identified an advantage of the firearm, they pursued it, and executed it well. Not to mention you get an extra magazine with this. This, on the other hand, they didn't really find an advantage and execute it. For example, say I was on the board of designing this firearm and they brought it up as a prototype and they're like, hey, you know, we're thinking about releasing this. How can we make it special? Well, I'd look at it and I'd be like, well, obviously it's a blowback. So why don't we do like Ruger did?
Of course, lock the slide back, take out your wrench, and you remove the actual thread protector. Put on the threaded barrel or the thread adapter.
Have a little cap right here you can spin off, then put on an adapter, and you could thread a can on here because it's a blowback, so you don't need a booster inside the silencer. Therefore, people can just make their own silencers and throw a serial number on it or whatever, and we could even just call it the Bugaboo gun. Because of the fact that you can go in your garage and make a silencer that will function on this. This is a locking system. You absolutely have to have a booster on the silencer for this to function correctly. Otherwise, it pulls the barrel forward, and then the slide will just come back to here, and you'll basically have to rack it every single time you take a shot. That's not the case with this one. Once you get the right spring in there, which they could just include one right in the package that, hey, if you want to run a silencer, here's 4 or 5 different weighted springs. Try these to find the functionality. Find the perfect functionality. Have your little thread adapter, threaded barrel, and then I would actually be interested in this. Like, this is actually a used firearm. I was debating on going and doing testing with this, and I was just kind of like, It really doesn't turn me on. I really don't like it that much. I even tried selling it to my girl. I'm like, hey, why don't you take this firearm? We'll do some shooting, get some feedback. And she picks it up, kind of like turns it around her hand. She's like, really don't like it. And I believe that's because they didn't identify what advantages this firearm could have and then pursue those advantages and make those advantages stronger. So, out of these 2 firearms, which one would I pick? It would probably be the 380EZ because it has usable advantages. Now, 380EZ does have a loaded flag, which really care less. I'd rather see them spend more money on lobbyist groups in communist states trying to get gun laws changed than trying to make communist-compliant firearms, but, you know, whatever. Both these do feel like good firearms, though, and they are crazy affordable. So I do believe if you pick either of these, you'll probably be happy with them. But, again, I believe this actually has usable advantages. This does not. The only people I could see buying this are people that like 1911 A1s, and again, I have to check on the sites, but if they don't even have these sites, then what's the point? But anyway, leave in the comments below which one you would pick and why. If you'd like to help support the channel, links in the description. Thank you for watching.